This episode of Hero Club is supported by our good friends over at Mage Hand Press. Check them out at magehandpress.com and be sure to buy their masterpiece supplement for Dungeons & Dragons in space, Dark Matter. Use the promo code RIFTRATS, all one word, for 15% off. If you like Hero Club, remember to rate and review on your preferred platform and tell your friends. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to Hero Club. I'm Nick Williams.
And I am George Primavera.
George and I have been playing D&D together for years.
Now, a lot of people think you need to be a big, huge nerd boy to play Dungeons & Dragons.
But in reality, you just have to be willing to spend 4 hours of your own time on a weekday trashed on cheap beer cross-legged around a coffee table.
I lost a game of Flip Cup in 2012, so I had to buy all the books and learn how to be Dungeon Master. My dad was disappointed.
Yeah, he was. But after a game or two, we realized that it's actually a really fun and effective way to tell an awesome story.
Yeah, it's like long-form improv, but you kill more people.
Here's what you need to know. George creates a world and the framework for a cool story.
And the players, like Nick, create characters beforehand, all with special abilities, sometimes magical, sometimes not, and they adventure through the story as best they can, trying not to die.
We, the players, roll dice to see if our improvised actions fail or succeed, trying to beat a number in George's head that he promises he doesn't change at will.
But at the table, I am God, my game, my rules.
Okay, so it's as nerdy as you thought. You know what? Just off, man.
Oh,
right off,
all right,
okay?
Nick, maybe don't tell everybody to F off. And it's not that nerdy. I mean, we get rid of all that stupid math, and we add music and sound effects and stuff like that, so, you know, it's cool.
Anyway, these stories do follow a linear plot, so if you want to know what's going on, start at the beginning of any season you like and have fun with it.
Without further ado,
welcome to Hero Club! Yeah!
Reagan Cross, CB, and Korrah Icehill sit aboard the Emissary as they enter the atmosphere of the small, pink planet below, trapped in what appears to be a multitude of tractor beams from multiple ships. The rotund, frog-like alien that previously showed up on the video screen has disappeared, and there has been radio silence since. As they enter the atmosphere, the ship begins to shake, little embers flick past the window as debris burns up on entry, and as the Emissary descends further towards the surface, the sky becomes a bright pale yellow. Eventually, the Emissary touches down in a particularly dusty patch of pink, and the squadron of ships touches down around you. The tiny crew of the Emissary is left alone in silence.
Wallace, can you tell us what the atmosphere is like?
The surrounding atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other gases. Air quality is unhealthy for sensitive groups, but appears to be breathable.
I'm not a huge fan of the vibes of this place.
What's the play here, Ray?
I think all we can do now, CB, is just wait. We can gear up, though. I have a feeling we're going to be leaving the ship soon. Hey, Ice, do you have any weapons?
I have a couple things I could probably cook up. Korrah leaves the cockpit to head to her medbay.
As Korrah leads Reagan and CB down to the medbay, the ship gives a great lurch as if being lifted upwards all at once. A second or two later, another lurch as it seems to fall a short distance and settle. There's a great mechanical whir, and the trio feels a bit of forward motion.
Yeah, let's hurry and grab the weapons.
Done and done. CB charges towards his mech suit and scrambles in.
Reagan already has her weapons on her and returns to the cockpit to see what's going on.
Korrah continues down to her medbay.
With a hiss of steam, the door opens, revealing Korrah's study. The room looks a bit like a surgery theater, with different delicate-looking tools hanging from hooks on the wall, and a couple of very large machines with indiscernible purpose, covered in buttons, dials, and knobs. An operating table and a dentist chair are bolted into the floor in the center. Korrah goes to the far wall, presses a couple of buttons on a keypad, and another door hisses and slowly opens, revealing a wall-to-wall rack of weapons. At the far end, a pedestal pops out of the wall, and what looks like a small disc rests atop it.
My buddy! Korrah grabs the small disc and places it on the landing pad on her shoulder.
As she does, it clicks into place, a little screen is revealed, and 2 animated eyes bounce into frame.
Hey bud, how's it going? Korrah grabs one of the bigger guns and also grabs a short cylindrical gizmo. She puts it in her pack.
As Korrah turns tail and exits the room, the doors automatically move back into place. A little red light pops on, indicating it is locked. The trio meets back up in the cockpit. Out the front, all they see is a large metal wall. The wall shakes as if in motion. Everybody make a survival check.
10.
18.
10.
I think we're in some kind of truck.
Like someone's kidnapping us?
Yeah, kinda like that.
Great.
My best guess would be those jokers with the tractor beam ships. You know, from before.
Those frog-looking creatures?
Yeah, that'd be the ones. That's just my best guess.
Can everybody make a history check, please?
16.
3.
24.
You know, I've been around the GCC for a while and I don't recognize these creatures. I don't think they're registered.
Yeah, I ain't never seen them before either.
You mean they're completely undocumented? Unknown?
Yes, I believe so.
Where are we?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Wallace?
I am unable to answer that question. I have thus far been unable to recognize any of the star formations around the ship.
I guess that is the mission. It's already much more exciting than I expected a research mission to be.
You know, if this is what cartographers do, they're not nearly as nerdy as I thought.
This is not what cartographers do. A cartographer is a producer of maps. For the most part, Captain, you and CB engage in crime.
Thanks, Wallace.
You are welcome, CB.
Everybody make a perception check, please.
17.
19.
18.
As you trundle along, supposedly in this massive truck, you start to hear a dull roar far, far in the distance. As time passes, the roar begins to get louder and louder, and is unmistakably the shouting of thousands of voices. Finally, the forward motion stops, causing you all to lurch forward in your chairs for a moment. The roaring crowd outside continues to scream, and then in the rear of the ship, you hear your hangar bay doors open automatically, and the roaring is almost deafening, even while you sit in the cockpit.
Wallace, who authorized you to open the door?
No one has authorized. Open.
Reagan pulls her gun and goes to the edge of the cockpit, peeking around the door to get a better look at the hangar.
Your vision is slightly obscured as you are still clearly in some sort of massive metal contraption, but you can see several 3.5-foot tall round figures begin to poke their heads inside of the Emissary, holding large round metallic cylinders in their hand, almost as one would hold a baguette coming home from the grocery store.
Reagan reaches over and grabs the intercom. State your business! What are you doing on my ship?
Immediately, the figures seem to look around wildly, and then the one who's in front drops his long tube on the floor and seems to put his hands up.
Reagan calmly steps out from around the barrier and takes a few steps towards the alien.
In better light, you see what looks like a 3.5-foot tall frog with frilly ears and semi-webbed hands and feet, in what looks like an almost medieval suit of armor, with various pieces missing or in states of disrepair. He seems to wave at you to come closer.
Am I correct in assuming that you can't understand me? Because I sure as hell can't understand you, but I appreciate the gesture.
The frog-like creature looks back at his compatriot. Their shared confusion is apparent, but both of them now beckon you out of the ship, and they begin to leave as well.
Guys, you can come out. They're not gonna shoot us, but
what?
But I don't know what's waiting for us once we leave the Emissary.
Korrah looks to Cheeseburgers for reassurance.
Don't look at me, our luck's been bad. We got arrested yesterday. Cheeseburgers hits a button and closes the visor on his mech suit.
Reagan begins to tentatively make her way down the ramp and out of the hangar.
Korrah double checks the mechanical adornments around her wrists, ankles, and neck before heading down into the hangar.
CB trudges forward, bringing up the rear.
The three exit the ship and wait as the two frog-like aliens mess with the keypad in the side of the wall, and the massive door begins to rise like a portcullis. And as soon as it does, the bright light of day shines into the metal box you're all standing in. And as the door clears your eye level, you see before you hundreds and hundreds of small frog-like aliens flanking a skinny dirt path towards a large, round, domed building. Every single one of them is unmistakably screaming like a fan at a movie premiere. Cameras flash, banners are waved, and sound makers resound across this massive clearing.
Are they fans of us?
That's literally impossible. We try to keep as low a profile whenever we can.
Heck, until yesterday, there were 3 people in the entire universe who knew my name, and one of those guys was dead.
Both frogs begin to lead you down the path. One of them looks up at Reagan and with big yellow eyes holds up a hand as if to take hers.
CB puts himself between Reagan and the frogman. Whoa, easy there, fella.
The little guy readjusts and holds his hand up to CB instead.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump on this grenade. And CB grabs the hand.
The frog turns towards the path and begins to lead the massive mech-suited CB into the crowd of apparently adoring fans as they all try to touch CB's suit as he goes past.
Whoa, okay. All right, easy now. Easy on the hardware there.
The second frog turns to Reagan and Korrah. The frogman grabs both of Reagan's thumbs and begins to tug her down the pathway.
Okay.
Korrah shrugs, enters the crowd, and grabs a random hand and drags the frog-like creature onto the path with her.
The frog exudes what is clearly wonder and joy as he begins to walk Korrah down the pathway. As they move down the path, the enthusiasm and the excitement only increases. And deep in the crowd, you can almost hear a kind of chanting pickup, though of course you can't understand at all what is being said.
These guys are pretty tiny, Ray. Maybe they think you're a god.
I mean, probably not far off from the reception. I'm extremely uncomfortable.
A few hundred feet later, you reach the massive domed building. One of the little frog people touches another keypad, puts his entire hand on a scanner, and a door opens, leading into a dark corridor. He beckons you all further in. The door closes behind you, and immediately, all of the sound is eliminated.
Oh, that's better.
You look around, and you are in a cold, dark room. The frog creatures leave your hands, hold up theirs as if to say, wait here, and enter through another door on the far side of the room. As the door closes behind them, a light flicks on, and you see that the room you're in is wall-to-ceiling, dirty linoleum with a drain in the center of the floor.
They seem friendly, but my first thought is murder room?
There's a buzzing above you, and a long robotic arm descends from the ceiling, unfolding, with what looks like a radar dish at the tip of it. Almost sentiently, it seems to look at all 3 of you, beeping as it does, and then begins to whir as if a camera is getting ready to take a picture. There's a flash of light. Everybody make an intelligence save.
19.
22.
18.
All of you feel a little bit of vomit rise in your chest, and then all of you steel yourselves and manage to keep it down. You blink a little bit, your stomach settling slowly, and then, at the far end of the room, the door opens and 3 different frog creatures appear, stepping onto the cold, dirty tile. One of them opens their mouth and says,
Okay, fantastic. We couldn't be happier to have you all here. You're a lively bunch. Much better looking than the normal crap we get. If I may, I'm announcer John 2, and this is my associate here.
I am announcer Sponge. Oh no.
You said it, Sponge.
I stepped in something wet. Again.
Sponge is never careful in the vomit room. God, I love working with you, buddy.
It's confusing. It's right next to bathroom.
Hi-oh!
From the third frog in the back, who consults a clipboard, gentlemen, we are behind schedule.
What? Do you all speak English?
Oh, good gravy. I do not know what that word means. So sorry for all the confusion here. We're here to fill you in before the festivities begin. You're on the planet Bulbosa. Essentially, you're about to enter, well, let's call it a gladiator ring.
It is Bloodsport, or as we call it, Death Hole. You will fight until you are almost no more, and then you will fight again.
That's exactly right, bud. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, you lot are the stars here at the Death Hall. Things might get a little messy, but just don't worry about it.
So do you guys just wait at the entrance to that wormhole for people to come through? Is this where everyone's come?
Yes.
All right. What happens if you win?
Becoming Ultimate Champion grants you an audience with the Overlord. Do one of you have paper towel? My foot is still moist from the vomit room.
I don't think so.
Can you check, please? I would like for you to check before you give up.
Fair enough. CB ducks into the body of his suit and rummages through all the trash that's at the bottom. Within the dome on top of CB's mech, you see a little green hand shoot up holding a dirty burger wrapper. I got one of these. Will that do?
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Here you go. Wait, did you say blood sport?
Announcers John 2 and Sponge, I must insist, we are now 6 minutes behind schedule.
Oh boy, 6 minutes, that's a lifetime in Bloodsport. Okay, quickly, before we get in there, just to let you all know, you're fighting Gladiator Og and his band of screamers. And if you win, you will be fighting Galapagus, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Korrah turns to Reagan and whispers,
I don't have much experience in this field, but I say we just attack them.
I don't hate that idea.
Gentlemen, if we could start moving, please.
Yes, let's begin here. Let's get everybody out there. Hey, listen, have a great time. This is a family event, family fun. You're gonna enjoy yourselves. We'll be announcing the entire thing.
Be sure to buy earplugs at the concessions for 25 fjords. It's for the screamers. Trust me on this one.
And hey, remember, it's Bloodsport.
Announcers Sponge and John 2 disappear back through the door they came, leaving the third frog creature alone with the clipboard.
Okay, so if I could just get the correct pronunciation of all of your names, that would be appreciated.
Reagan raises her blaster at the creature, Korrah and CB following suit, and opens fire.
Everybody roll an attack.
22.
30.
25.
The frog creature slams up against the linoleum wall, and after each impact resembles more and more a pile of green goo.
Reagan runs over to the body and begins checking him for keys or a key card or anything of the sort.
Amongst the smoking remains of the frog creature, you find the clipboard from earlier, destroyed and on fire, and a little key card attached to a lanyard. As you look at the key card, you can see the strange symbols rearrange themselves before your eyes, and you suddenly are able to read it in English. Below a little picture of the frog, you see the words, Organizer Booth 4, Advanced Clearance.
Well, that's good, advanced clearance. I bet we could just get out of here.
Yeah, he seemed like the brains of the operation, so we dealt with him. We gooed him up good.
But they also could have information on where everyone that went through has gone since.
Yeah, I mean, it's your call, Ray.
I'm about the same height as this guy. I mean, not anymore, I guess. But I've been developing this hologram that would allow me to take the form of another being. I bet I could program it to make it look like him, and maybe we can walk around and see what we can discover?
And then try to get out of here as fast as possible.
Yes, but we are here for research, so I think we should try and figure out what we can.
Listen, Korrah, look, I'm loving this attitude. Really going for it. My one problem with this plan is that there are thousands and thousands of people outside. How are we gonna escape the vomit room without being seen?
Why don't I transform into this Organizer Booth 4 and scout it out, and if the coast is clear, I'll usher you guys along.
Asked and answered. Go for it.
Korrah looks at her wrist and opens up a flap revealing a control panel. She presses a couple of buttons, and instantly, the mechanisms around her wrist, ankles, and neck envelop her in a holographic field. In just 1 second, she turns into Booth.
Oh, wow. If I didn't know you were just there a second ago, I would have sworn you were Booth 4.
So it looks okay?
Yeah, no, it looks great. Let's go for it.
I'm ready. Korrah walks to the door at the opposite end of the hall, taking the identification card with her. She motions for Cheeseburgers and Reagan to stand back away from the side of the door, scans the card.
The door opens.
She pokes her head in and looks around.
Extending out before you is a dark hallway lit by several green orbs. There are 2 doors at the opposite end of the hallway.
Korrah turns back into the room. There are 2 doors here.
But the coast is clear?
Yes, the coast is clear.
Reagan exits the room.
Korrah heads to the door on the left and analyzes.
Make a perception check, please.
18.
You hear a little bit of conversation on the other side of the door, but you can't really understand what's being said.
There seems to be people on the other side of this left door. Let's check the right door.
CB checks the right door.
Make a perception check.
14.
Silence, but this door isn't locked and creaks open if pressed.
Stand back. I'll check to see if the coast is clear. Korrah opens the door.
It's a small supply closet, wall to wall with little tubes of liquid.
Korrah examines the vials.
You don't recognize the contents at all.
Reagan goes over, plucks out a vial, and experimentally throws it against the wall of the hallway.
It crashes into the wall, and all of a sudden, a strong smell of mint seems to fill the air.
She grabs another and does the same.
The mint smell gets stronger.
All right.
As you pick up the third vial and analyze it a little more closely, again, strange symbols begin to rearrange, and in English, you're able to read vomit cleaning agent. Smells so good.
Well, I guess it's door number 1.
CB, you want to go say hello?
All right. CB kicks the door in and readies his 2 blasters.
Make an athletics check.
18.
The door blasts open, and before you, sitting in what looks like a doctor's waiting room holding little mugs of steaming liquid, are 10 frogs decked out in gladiator attire. One of them, who appears to be speaking to the rest of them in a pep talk-like fashion, whips around and joyfully greets you.
And that's why you guys are the best. Oh, hey, you guys! Are you the... Oh, hey!
CB launches 2 blasts at the cheerful frog. 15.
Miss.
26.
Hit. Roll damage.
14 damage.
The friendly frog slams against the wall, his hand going to his head, and his other hand dropping his mug of liquid and holding it up in a don't shoot fashion.
Hey, not yet, guys!
Reagan enters the room, blaster raised.
Whoa, don't shoot me again! It's me, Captain Og! These are my screamers!
You're who we were supposed to fight?
Yeah. Did John 2 and Sponge not tell you? I mean, why don't you just ask Boof 4? He's right here.
He gestures to Korrah, disguised as the little frog.
Yeah. These are your opponents?
Great job, Boof 4. You really stuck the landing there.
Thanks!
Captain Og, you were saying how we're the best?
Oh yeah, what I was saying was I want you guys to go out there and put on a great show and, just really give them heck.
Come on, screamers, let's get screaming. Ooh!
Okay, dial it back like 10% there, ARP5. So you guys excited for the fight?
Not particularly, to tell you the truth. We didn't really have a choice in this.
Oh, well, the newcomers don't like at first, but it's not a big deal. Everybody ends up having a real blast.
Have you seen others that look like me recently?
You mean like pinkish?
Yeah, sure. Appendages that look like these. 2 eyes up front. That kind of deal.
A couple days ago. But man, Galapagos got him.
I hate to say this, Ray, but I think the only way we're gonna find out more info here is if we talk to the Overlord. And by the looks of it, and correct me if I'm wrong, guy, but I think the only way to talk to the Overlord is by killing Galapagos.
And me. And my screamers. That's a cool thing to ask the Overlord for, is information. If I win, I'm getting me a tanning bed.
Korrah turns to Reagan once again and whispers.
Again, not my area of expertise, but if we have to kill them, why don't we just kill them now?
I think CB's right. And I think to get information, we're gonna have to talk to the Overlord. But my God, you are much more merciless than I pictured you to be.
I just like to get things done.
Well, I see why my dad likes you.
Welcome back, everybody. It is a wonderful day for Bloodsport here at the Death Hole. I am announcer John 2, and joining me as always, my trusty sidekick announcer, Sponge.
All right, Bulbies, clap your hands and stomp your feet, for the Bloodsport is to begin. Your first challengers, a crowd favorite, Captain Og and his Screamers.
Well, Screamers, they're playing our song. Let's get out there.
Captain Og and his band of screamers assemble at the door at the far end of the hall, and the double doors blast open, revealing the interior of a massive stadium with a dirt floor and rows of these bulbies cheering their heads off.
Remember what I said. Kill! Kill for the Overlord! But have fun!
Captain Og leads his screamers out to a massive roar from the crowd.
You know, Sponge, old buddy, this sort of reminds me of your rookie year, way back in the year 12,464.8. Tell us a bit about your debut experience in the Death Hole. I mean, you were such an athlete back in those days.
Yes, I was just a small bulby then, but I had arms the size of pillars. I believe the challenger back then was, correct me if I'm wrong, Ognarox.
Yeah, I think that was Ognarox. That was sort of the end of his prime, I would say. Athletically speaking, of course. He went on to manage many gladiator teams after that. But pretty soon he disintegrated and died?
I would say it was just right after his peak, like maybe a month after he had peaked. So he was still strong. It was quite a fight. Lasted a good 4.5 minutes. I just, put my fist through him and squished.
Announcer Sponge continues to relive his glory days as Korrah, CB, and Reagan begin to make a plan.
Okay, Korrah, I know you're kinda new to combat here, but how we've always done it is, I take kinda the brunt of the fire there, and Reagan sorta jumps around, just feeding him the old right-left.
I have a couple weapons myself, but if you guys get hurt, I do have a couple serums that'll help us out.
Perfect. I also think you should change back. I don't think having you as Boof 4 is beneficial to us anymore. Although, great job.
Thanks! Korrah presses the button on her reg, and the hologram dissipates, turning back into herself.
I wasn't trying to disintegrate him, you know that. We all know that. Everybody here knows that, okay? It was not on purpose.
Well, Sponge, I gotta tell you, man, that is just quite the story. Granted, I've heard it about 500 times, but I gotta say it doesn't get old. And now entering the ring from the rift. Oh, these are newcomers here, so let me get out my notes. Chodebrugger, not sure what that means. Someone named Rogan, and another non-Bulby named Korrah. Is that right, Sponge? Have you ever seen these people?
Yeah, that's the correct pronunciation.
Thank you, buddy. I'm a pro. I've been doing it for years. I gotta say, once again, it's a pleasure to have such a legend by my side, game in and game out.
I like most people, but I have half a mind to just kill those announcers.
Okay, rain check on that.
Right, eyes on the prize.
The doors open once again in front of Cheeseburgers, Reagan, and Korrah. The crowd roars.
Well, everyone likes an underdog.
Across the dirt arena, you see Captain Og gather his screamers into a tight formation, stepping in front of them and raising a two-pronged spear, as all the screamers raise a single-pronged spear behind him.
Captain Og's two-pronged spear, you love to see it.
Okay, gang, remember, as far as I'm concerned, you're all champions.
And Captain Og and his screamers launch themselves towards the party.
Oh, and the gun has been jumped. We're going ahead and rolling with this. This reminds me of the rookie year of a compatriot of yours, Sponge.
Captain Og charges 30 feet right at Reagan and thrusts with his two-pronged spear. 18. 8 damage.
The spear just barely penetrates Ray's armor, scratching her side a bit. The screamers follow suit, launching themselves at Korrah and CB. 3 of the screamers land on CB's armor and start stabbing at it. CB takes a total of 20 damage as they begin to rip components off of the mech. Korrah manages to dodge most of the screamers charging, but one of them gets a solid stab at her thigh. She takes 6 damage.
Oh, Captain Og and the screamers take first blood.
Almost reminds me of your 3rd year when you fought Captain Clemph.
Oh, yes, I remember Captain Clem. He put up quite a fight, whole 5 minutes, but let me tell you, I did not mean to disintegrate him with my fist. We all know that it was an accident, and if I could do it again, I wouldn't.
From her belt, Korrah pulls out an energy sword, activates it, and attacks the closest screamer. 16 to hit.
Hit.
The sword rips through the body of the screamer, cutting it in half. Mid-slash, Korrah pulls out a gun from her holster, aims it at Captain Og, and shoots. 15.
The blast goes wide and impacts in the dirt.
Oh, wow, what a shot. So close. That would have been real damage there. Again, buddy, it is a pleasure to be in the booth with you. These kinds of fights, these classics really remind me of your heyday.
I thought you said you didn't have any experience.
Training and experience are 2 different things.
CB blasts 2 of the screamers off of his suit. 14.
Miss.
13.
Miss again. The screamers are scrambling all over CB's suit, and he's unable to nail them down.
Great effort, guys. I'm really proud of you.
Reagan squares up and does a quick 1-2 at Og before attempting to throw an uppercut with her right fist, followed by an axe kick with her left leg. 27, 15, 25, 27.
3 hits. Og accidentally ducks the second punch, but takes the brunt of the punishment.
For 26 damage.
Whoa!
and she attempts to grapple him. 23.
You are swift, Rogan, but I'm...
Reagan grabs Og in a headlock.
Oh, blammo, what a shot! You know, I have to say that I have to compliment Rogan on its agility. It is a quick thing.
You're amazing. I think you ruptured at least 3 of my kidneys.
Captain Og fights to break free.
Og slips out of Reagan's headlock and dances away a couple of feet, readying his spear.
Ah! You're slippery.
It's 'cause my skin's so wet. Now, taste my prongs.
The Screamers continue to go to work, 3 of whom attack Cheeseburgers, dealing 16 damage to CB. 3 attack Korrah, who deftly dodges all of them, and 4 attack Reagan. Only 1 finds their mark, dealing 7 damage.
Oh, good gravy, those screamers are going to work, Sponge.
How you doing there, CB?
I've had better scraps, Korrah, I'll tell you that right now.
Korrah, blaster already in hand, aims it at Og and fires 2 quick blasts. 18 and a nat 20
2 hits.
for 33 damage.
Describe it.
The first blast hits Captain Og squarely in the chest.
Ah, look at that. I'm shot.
The second blast aims a little higher, taking his head off his shoulders. Korrah presses a button on her control panel. The disc on her shoulder detaches from its module, flies over to Cheeseburgers, and drops a tiny vial in his hand.
I think this'll help, Cheeseburgers.
What do I do with this, Korrah?
Drink it, it'll help.
CB quickly pops his visor and downs the elixir, his wounds suturing themselves up.
CB gains 9 health points.
From your perspective, with your experience, Sponge, how do you think Og is looking at this point? He is dead.
CB pops his visor closed again and throws some switches inside of his suit. The plunger on the center of his back raises up, the disc opens into a secondary position, and sends out a massive thunderclap sound, ringing through the stadium.
5 of the 9 remaining Screamers, all surrounding CB, drop to their knees and pitch forward into the dirt immediately.
Ooh, big takedown by Chodebrugger there.
Ha! Nice job, you two. And Reagan pulls out her blaster and takes 2 shots off at the remaining Screamers. Botch. 19.
Reagan's blaster jams, but she quickly fixes the problem and sends one of the Screamers flying. The 3 remaining Screamers gather into a phalanx-like position.
Okay, guys, kill him!
I'm gonna get him.
And they all launch themselves at Korrah. Korrah easily dodges the first, but the other 2 flank her and get a healthy stab in each. She takes 23 damage.
Oh yeah, 2 screamers with a critical pinch. That's what you like to see, John, too. You got that right, Sponge. It reminds me of a young Sponge out there. Good grief, would I love to see you in the ring again. Let me tell you, I would if I was allowed.
Korrah grabs her blaster and aims 1 shot at the Screamer on her left, then turns, aiming it to the one on her right. 13 and 18.
One of the Screamers rolls out of the way, the other goes down.
CB follows her shots with 2 of his own. 19, nat 20. CB blasts the first one from afar and then jets over to the last one, punching it with his blaster, reducing his midsection to goo.
The crowd erupts.
Ooh, you know what that means. You've been waiting for it, Bobies. Here he comes, Galapagos.
A 15 by 15 foot trapdoor in the center of the pit opens. There's a low growl as steam and electric static energy begins to roil over the surface of the dust. And out of the hole pokes a monstrous, slithering head bearing foot-long teeth. It pulls itself out of the hole, dragging 30 feet of body behind it. Every 5 feet, another pair of legs juts from the scaly body, and the front 10 feet of the monster rears back like a cobra ready to strike.
Oh, big fella.
Reagan aims her blaster and fires twice. Botch. 20.
Reagan's gun jams and overheats in her hand. As she drops it to the ground, Galapagus rears back and darts forward, snapping Reagan up in its jaws, lifting its head up, and swallowing.
Hey,
Hooray! Yum, yum, yum. One down the hatch, Galapagos consumes.
I don't think there's anyone in peak physical condition like Galapagos. I mean, again, his off-season regimen must have been just out of this world. His muscles are gleaming.
God, John 2's so thirsty.
The massive creature drops its maw open. You see Ray's boots disappear down its throat, and then electrical energy charges around the monster's teeth, and a lightning bolt explodes outward. Both of you make a dexterity saving throw.
17.
11.
CB's suit manages to disperse some of the lightning, and he only takes 10 damage, while Korrah, taking a full blast, flies backward 20 feet and takes 40 lightning damage.
From her holster, Korrah takes out a vial of particularly strong health serum. Korrah regains 22 hit points. She presses a button on her control panel, sending her flying disc over to her opponent. Underneath the disc, a port opens and shoots out acid. 22 to hit.
Hit.
8 acid damage. Korrah runs as far away as she can from her opponent.
CB, now panicking that Ray has been swallowed by this creature, takes to the sky, zipping behind Galapagos' head, and fires 3 blasts. 29, 24, 27.
3 hits.
It takes 39 damage.
Oh, Galapagos takes a big hit. We haven't seen firepower like that in a long time. Not since back in your days, Sponge.
I don't know if he can hear me, but if I was Schwartberger, I would take it easy. Because if you disintegrate him, you will be banned, and your second wife will leave you.
Reagan, you take 10 damage as stomach acid begins to burn your skin. The nasty, squishy walls begin to constrict you.
Reagan manages to reach down and slaps the side of her grab boots. They whir to life, light up, and her density multiplies by 10, bringing her through the bottom of the creature.
Reagan emerges from where Galapagos' larynx should be, a massive hole now appearing in the creature's throat. Galapagos takes 70 damage. There's a massive crash as she slams into the floor of the arena, cracking the rock beneath her.
Wow, Galapagos with a hole. Mama's got big feet.
Oh, and there's the famous catchphrase, Sponge. Mama's got big feet.
It's never applied to a situation so perfectly as today.
Ray, you did it! You got out of that thing!
I love these things.
Galapagos is waving his head about, clearly in death throes. He lunges forward, mouth agape at CB, and misses completely wide, CB easily jetting out of the way. He launches one more time, this time at Korrah, and slams his head into the wall of the stadium, sending several bulbies flying. Korrah effectively rolls out of the way. Slowly, the massive creature begins to stumble left and stumble right. Its eyes shudder and roll into the back of its head, and it slams into the ground, motionless. The cheers are deafening.
Listen to that crowd, Sponge. It's absolutely incredible. Could this be the end of Galapagos?
Let me tell you, I have not seen formidable opponents like these in at least a quadricentenary. Such teamwork, such power. Good.
A very small door opens up in the side of the wall, and a tiny bulby with a stethoscope runs over to the gigantic monster laying still in the dirt, puts them in his ears, waves his hand in the air to tell the crowd to quiet down, and they immediately go pretty much silent. He holds the stethoscope to Galapagos' chest, makes his way down the entire length of the body, skipping the massive hole, before reaching the tail, putting his stethoscope away, and raises his 2 arms in the air, giving the affirmative. The crowd explodes.
Oh, it's Dr. Spongle! Hey, can you hear me down there? Dr. Spongle, it's me! Dr. Spongle!
All right, Sponge, let's not communicate with Dr. Spongle. Remember the restraining order, buddy.
Mama's got big feet!
All right. Well, they have done it. They have won. What an incredible battle. What a battle fought by the newcomers. Galapagos goes down. Schwartberger, Korrah, and Reagan take the victory.
Congratulations, challengers. You have won an audience with the Overlord himself.
Well, that's going to conclude our broadcast. We'd like to thank our producers, our whole crew here, and remind you that today's broadcast was brought to you by Flum Cream. Plum cream, the perfect cream for any bulby out there with a rash of any kind.
Dr. Spunkle, stethoscope now put away, walks over to the trio.
Hey, wow, great job. So, Dr. Spunkle, my fake name, don't worry about that. My actual name is Dr. Spunk. And if you'd all like, I'll see to your wounds and then see you to the Overlord's chamber.
Reagan wipes some residual stomach acid off her arm and flings it on the ground before turning to CB and Korrah, shrugging and following the doctor.
CB lands hard on the ground, articulating the robotic arm in his mech suit that has taken some severe damage, and follows.
Korrah, still twitching from the blast, attempts to follow, but struggles.
2 stadium hands get under Korrah, supporting her and help her forward. Several other attendants begin to shovel up bits of Screamer, placing them on a large open back of a van, and also begin to push Galapagos back down into the hole, rather unsuccessfully. After exiting the stadium, Dr. Spunk leads all 3 of you to a golf cart-like vehicle, drives you through winding hallways, into a massive elevator, and you begin to rise and rise and rise. The Bulby reaches into the glove box, pulls out a couple of syringes loosely kept within, and distributes them.
Just put these in your knees.
Knees?
I don't have a knee.
Do you have a leg?
Well, yeah.
Right in the middle there.
Korrah sanitizes the needle and sticks it in her leg.
CB opens up the mech suit, sits on the edge, grabs the needle, and jams it into his knee.
Reagan rolls up her pants and stabs her knee.
As the liquid enters your bodies, you feel an immediate rejuvenation, and all of your wounds heal up almost instantaneously.
Ooh. Reagan attempts to take an extra syringe from the glove compartment.
Make a sleight of hand check.
9.
Hey, don't touch that.
Don't touch what?
The syringe, I saw you pocket it.
No, that was the one I used.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No.
See? And Reagan holds up the empty one, the full one behind her back.
No, it's behind your back.
No, it's not. And she drops the syringe behind her, holding up her other hand.
As this is going on, Korrah tries to pocket one of her own.
Roll a sleight of hand check with advantage.
7.
Hey, stop it.
As soon as Dr. Spunk turns to Korrah, CB stealthily slides down his mech suit and attempts to grab one with his foot.
Roll a sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
6.
Okay, once again, I will reiterate, that's not allowed.
Well, what's not allowed? I wasn't doing anything.
Put the syringes back.
Korrah presses a button on her control panel, sending her disc over to the glove compartment.
Dr. Spunk raises his arms and says,
Okay, jeez. If you want syringes, I'll give you syringes.
And he reaches into his bag and holds out 6 syringes and puts them on the seat.
Just don't take my personal supply, okay? These are budgeted. You can have these. They're less powerful, but they're still significant.
Korrah picks one up to examine to make sure it's the same.
The liquid is the same color.
Korrah shrugs and pockets it.
All right. He takes the syringes back, stops at a massive, incredibly ornate door about 30 feet high, and says,
Get off my cart.
Yes, sir. CB hops into his mech suit and gets up.
Thanks, Doc.
Dr. Spunk sees Korrah eyeing the glove box and hits the gas and peels out.
God damn it.
Behind the door, you suddenly hear some festive music pop on.
Reagan goes up to the door and knocks.
There's no response, but the door does give a little bit.
Reagan pushes it open.
The crew enters an outlandish throne room of bright pinks, yellows, and deep blues. Something akin to silk curtains hang haphazardly from the crystal clear dome. A large crystal dangles from a golden chain in the middle of the room. It refracts the light around them. Rainbow spots of light dance on the silk. What can only be described as incense burners line the room and fill it with an overpowering cologne scent. It smells close to vanilla, but something about it burns the nostrils like a deep whiskey. Bulby servants are wearing long, sleeved robes. They twirl fans in a choreographed display. Standing on top of a throne is a dark pink and black Bulby. His suit and jacket are stately and dramatic, contrasting his lace-up sandal boots that shows off a hint of the pink of his skin. He seems excited. Above his head, holograms of the crew appear, a highlight reel of the fight they just fought. Champions! 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 Come in, come in!
Mr. Overlord, I take it? And Reagan leads the party in.
The Bulby hops down off of his throne. Oh, champions, welcome. I am Overlord Zilch. It seems you have a lot of explaining to do.
We got some explaining to do. You just threw us into a fight pit, bud.
Oh, yes. I know it's a little aggressive. I have to say, this is not the first time Organizer Bouffort has been killed on sight. So, I get it. Let me explain something. It was rigged.
Excuse me?
Come in, I won't bite you.
Reagan walks deeper into the room.
You see, my people are in need of, inspiration every now and then. It's a little bit tense around here. So the fighting is, very stress-relieving. It is also a good way to get to know the strangers from the rifts, and so that the strangers from the rift don't scare all of my people. You see, once you are fighters in the pits, they love you all. They never question the strangers from the rifts. That should be quite terrifying.
So do you rig all the fights?
Oh, just the ones for the strangers from the rifts. Why? Was it terribly difficult? Did I not calibrate it correctly? I figured that Captain Og and the Screamers were a pretty good baseline, horrible team for you to fight. Really easy. People love them, but... I mean... Well, look. Overlord Zilch gestures up to footage of CB detonating a thunderclap and 5 Screamers going down in a second.
Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, that was a good one. Quick question there, though, bud. Did you just say that Organizer Bouffort had been killed already in the past?
Yes, many times.
But how?
It's just dying. It's not like you got disintegrated. Death is temporary around here. We have a medical staff reviving all of the combatants you killed as we speak.
How do you do that?
Don't make me answer science questions.
Can you take me there? To where they revive everyone?
Oh, trust me, you'll have a full tour. See, there's another reason why I want people from the Rift here. I need their help. Your help. Many teams have come before you and all have won in glorious fashion, and they're all helping me find a way to get you all back. And to close this damn rift. It is fun for now, but there are questions that my subjects are asking.
So have you sent any ships back through?
Yes.
And?
Disintegrated, but never ones from the rift. Valiant warriors of the Bulby Nation have volunteered for this scientific expedition. They gave their life so that you may flourish.
That explains all the debris on the other side of the Stargate.
So the debris does make it to the other side. Good to know. Horf 7, please write that down.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Reagan reaches into the breast pocket of her leather jacket and pulls out the folded picture of her sister. Do you recognize her?
Ooh, Sylvia! Of course, you always remember the first through the rift. She detonated Bouffort with a grenade!
Smart.
What is your relation to Sylvia?
I'm trying to figure that out, but it's crucial that I find her. She folds the picture of her sister back up and returns it to her pocket.
Roll a deception check.
17.
Fan twirlers, leave us!
The Bulbies drop their fans and immediately scurry out of the hall, leaving only Overlord Zilch with the party.
I made an oopsie. It's not entirely my fault. Mismanagement, sure, but before any of this rift stuff, I was content to just expand, go further into the stars, researching in a lab something that we call red matter. It was an attempt to find a way for intragalactic travel, and then insurgents attacked. There was an explosion at the red matter plant, and it is what caused the rift. They will find me out eventually, and I just want this done with.
So how do we help with that?
Well, champions, it's the same mission I've sent so many of the strangers on. To a mining facility. To get a piece of technology called the Completer. It completes algorithms, any algorithm, based on external output, science and math. And we haven't had much luck. getting crews back. See, the insurgents, they took over. Barbarians, just ruthless, with no taste. All I want is to get you home and to close it. With the completer, we can design shields that can withstand the travel back through the rift. Then once you're gone, we can close it.
Was this Sylvia that we showed you the picture of there, did she go on this mission to find the completer?
Yes, but she's only been gone for a little while. She could still come back. We noticed that you had a red matter engine aboard your spaceship. We can outfit you with whatever you wish. We already made some positive modifications to your ship's AI. It seems that your database for this sector is empty. Now you will know far more about the surroundings.
Before we leave, I want to take a look at that medbay where you're bringing people back from the dead.
Oh yes, of course. Your ship's AI is modified with all the knowledge you would need about that process. What's mine is yours. Overlord Zilch goes back to his throne and reposes. So, champions, what do you say? Care to go on this quest?
Reagan looks to CB and Korrah, nods her head, and looks back up to Overlord Zilch. Well, look no further. We'll be your heroes.
Oh, yes! Rogan, Jordburger, Krah. I didn't want to seem desperate, but the way that you carried yourself in the battle, you might be the most powerful group we've had through the rift yet. I have, so many high hopes. But I do want to keep an eye on you in my own little way. So I'm going to have a friend watch over you. Oh, this is my favorite part.
Overlord Zilch gestures to a curtain, and suddenly a spotlight from the ceiling shines directly on it. There's a drum roll from nowhere, and then
I present to you your traveling companion, Overlord Zilch 7.
The curtains whip open, and another Overlord Zilch with exactly the same pink skin and black pattern, posing exactly the same as Overlord Zilch 1, is revealed.
I get Jordburger, Rogan, and Krah. Lucky number 7.
I guess we technically have a spare chair.
Now take care of them, number 7. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Oh, I won't, Overlord Zilch Prime. I won't do anything that you would do. Overlord Zilch Prime sits back on his throne, serious for a second. Good luck to all of you. May the Overlord be with you. Oh, I will be.
A tube descends from the ceiling above the throne and sucks Overlord Prime upward and into it.
Well, he seemed nice.
Thank you.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams and George Primavera, with associate producers Marty Abbey Schneider and Dylan McCullum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Hannah Fagerbaki, Jasmine Shung, Dylan McCullum, Marty Abbey Schneider, Henry Hall, and Marcos Gonzalez. Theme song written and performed by Zach Carlson, aka Famous Friend. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for his incredible music, Maychan Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, and Marty Abbey Schneider for his amazing artwork. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club. Yeah, I got sound effects for that. I don't need that. Thanks, though.
How long are you to let it go?
Yeah, I don't know. I got it.